And the reason that you don't have enough stuff in the pipeline is because you're not prospecting. Yeah, get your shit off of my deal. The job is not to get to the red zone. The job is to score the touchdown. This is how you're going to make the money. But if you just started a business, you got to do these things. But all of this is the planting of the seeds. How can I ask you to read this book if I don't do it? It's all about being a leader. You got to be able to plant seeds and then water those seeds and then harvest those seeds. Today's training is going to be mostly about prospecting, about building a list. The number one reason that you're scared about money is because you don't have enough stuff in the pipeline. And the reason that you don't have enough stuff in the pipeline is because you're not prospecting and you hold on to that little pretty pet, like in Tommy Boy, all right? And you sabotage the situation. Yeah, you want to see the video?
Helen, that's nice. You look like a Helen. Helen, we're both in sales. Let me tell you why I suck as a salesman. Let's say I go into some guy's office. Let's say he's even remotely interested in buying something. Well, then I get all excited. I'm like, Jojo, the idiot circus boy with a pretty new pet. The pet is my possible sale. Oh, my pretty little. I love you. So I stroke it. I pet it. Let me massage it. Yeah, I love my little naughty pet. Naughty. Naughty pet. Oh. That's when I blow it. That's when people like us have got to forge ahead, Helen. Am I right? God, you're sick.
What do I say sometimes? Get your what? Yeah, get your shit off of my deal. Like, I don't come to me with fear about the deal that I'm on with you, ever. Please don't do that. Like, I'm protective of it. Like, don't freaking touch my shit. Get off of it. Get your energy off my deal. And I mean that because your scarcity mind, the way that energy works is it all flows together. So if I'm on there rocking and rolling and giving it zero energy because I know it's either going to close or it's not, and it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, and you're just like, hey, did you do this? Hey, did you do that? Hey, are they good? Hey, what's up? What's up with this deal? What's up with that deal? Like, go fill up your pipeline so you don't even know what freaking deals you got in the pipeline. It's important. I think I had a dozen parameds physicals be done in the last 2 weeks. A dozen. If you have to prioritize the following actions, right? Calls, appointments, let's call it recap emails, follow-ups, schedule parameds, apps, like submitting apps.
With CRM, go with the recap out.
Sure. Well, let's just go with CRM. All right, what else do we have to do? Let's just say schedule parameds / do underwriting stuff. Yeah, whatever. Like, what's most important?
Calls.
No, you guys are all fucked up.
Calls.
No, fuck that. This is the two most important things. I know you say calls. This is how you're going to make your money. If you have a list of things to do today, the only two things that you could, if you only had two things that you could do today, well, the first thing you should do is submit the application and do your case management because that's how you're going to get paid. The job is not to get to the red zone. The job is to score the touchdown. If every single time you could get a kickoff return and the guy could run it all the way back to the other 20-yard line, wouldn't that be better? Then all you got to do every single time is throw the touchdown, throw the touchdown, throw the touchdown. Yes, in order to fill the pipeline, calls are the most important. But you want to get to the point where you don't even have time to make the calls because all day long, all you're doing is getting the ball, throwing a touchdown, getting the ball, throwing a touchdown, getting the ball, throwing a touchdown. The only way you'll get there is by making calls. But I'm showing you the priorities of what you need to do because this is going to make you money. This is how you're going to make the money. In order to get to that point, you got to make the phone calls. But I want you guys to understand that if you got to do money making activities, prioritize money making activities. The two things that are going to make you money are putting apps in and getting the people paid. I spent an hour yesterday, right? Calling apps, calling exam one, calling the client, trying to negotiate with the fucking parameds. This lady's going out of town for 3 months. It's a $2,000 a month. So it's $22,000 in annual premium plus $100K dump. And the lady at apps was like, "Oh, now I know why you want to get it done so bad." I said, "Yeah, that's 20 grand in my pocket." Right. So what would you rather do? Right. This morning, what was I doing this morning when you guys walked in?
You were on your computer doing.
I was submitting an app. I submitted an app this morning. The number, because yes, you could. My pipeline is full all the time. And the pipeline is full because of these activities, but you got to fill up the pipeline. And ideally, your pipeline is so full that all you do all day is these two things. And it's not the first initial reaction typically is like, well, that's easy for you to say. Or like, oh, that makes sense for you, Josh, but I'm not where you are. Right? That's not the mindset to have. The mindset to have is make so many freaking calls and run so many freaking appointments that a year from now, 2 years from now, this is all you're doing. Where you guys are at today, it's so important to fill up the pipeline and prospect all the time. And it comes down to like a farmer, but a farmer goes based on what? Based on the seasons, right? In the spring, they do what?
Plant.
In the summer, and in the fall, and the winter, they wait, right? Fuck in sales, fuck this one. Right? And so you can break it up 4 months, 4 months, 4 months. All right, but does the farmer make any money for these first 2 seasons? No, and he knows that. And he's in what? He had, in order to plant, what do you have to do? Buy what?
Seeds.
Seeds. Right? What are the seeds here? BNI, the chamber, biz cards, flyers, social media, marketing. Right? If you just started a business, you got to do these things. I mean, the first thing that you should do, and if you open up a business, is you're going to need to get a sign. You're going to need to get business cards. You need to hire some people, right? But so many people, it's like you're standing there at the field, like, please harvest, 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 harvest. You haven't planted any seeds yet. Sprout, sprout, sprout. And like, yo, you planted 2 seeds and the birds already ate them. Like they put a lot of time into work and planting seeds. And they knew, like, it would be foolish for a farmer to think that they're going to sprout before the fall, wouldn't it? So when you get started in the business, the same thing goes. The average business takes 3 to 5 years to break even. I didn't expect when I opened up Lee's Hoagie House that I was going to start profiting day one. You should not expect that from this business either. You can expect that from a job, but this isn't a job. This is a business. So you have to plant the seeds and go tell people what you do and get your name out there. You got to market yourself. People are scared to put themselves out there because they have low self-esteem. So then they end up buying leads, making phone calls, and not having enough deals in the pipeline. And you have to be like, hey, what's up? All right, to the point where you guys right now think about, Javi, what's your BNI script?
Hey, Josh, this is Javier calling from Josh Waxman's office. He's the president of the PNI chapter Circle of Trust.
You need people calling on your behalf. You need to go find, you grew up here. Go find 3 of your boys and yo, I think I started with this thing. I made 10 grand my second month. And we have people in here making a lot of money. What are you doing working at this place? Hey, I'm calling from Javi's office, and he is in B&I of this chapter. Right? You want people calling on your behalf. You want your name to get out there. But you need to go build a business. But you're too focused on harvesting all the time. You don't have the patience to plant the seeds and water them. And this is what holds you back in sales. You got to spend the time doing these two things because life is like the seasons. Jim Rohn has a great 45-minute audio called Life is Like the Seasons. And I listened to it 100 times in my life. And so it's my mindset, right? If you knew that it would take that, I mean, wouldn't it be foolish for a 12-year-old to think that they could play in the NFL next year? Like, it's going to take them at least another 6 years, right? And it'll probably take them 10 years. Like, that's just what it takes. Well, you guys are the 12-year-olds in business, right? It's going to take time, right? So you have to fill up your pipeline. And yes, you could, in our business, we have the luxury of just being able to make calls. But if you want to build a business and have a relationship and have people send you leads and get text messages that say like, hey, Chuck, this is Joe. Joe, I told Joe all about your new business and thought it was super cool. And I told him he needed to talk to you. And Joe, this is Chuck. He's an absolute expert at the infinite banking stuff I was telling you about. Happy connecting. That's a done deal, right? So like, the only way that you can do that is if you put your name out there and if you get your name out there, right? I commend you for making business cards and flyers and going to get your name out. It's impossible to start a business without getting your name out there. Right. So I want to break through the job mentality that you have and realize that you're in a business now. Right. And in order to get a business, you got to focus on planting the seeds. The harvest will come, but all of this is the planting of the seeds. You can't get there without this stuff. I don't want to contradict the purpose of the meeting this morning. This is how you make money. But this is what gets you there. In an ideal world, this is all you do, right? If you only had, I have 8 more recap emails to send for the last like 2 weeks, right? But what would be worth my time? Scheduling Leslie's paramed or sending somebody that didn't close a recap email so much they might? Yeah, schedule the paramed. I'm at the goal line, right? But you have to fill up your pipeline. You have to be obsessed with filling up that pipeline. That's all you have to be able to do. Where are places that you can fill up your pipeline from? Events, networking, social media, right? What's the positive of events? Yeah, face to face. What's the downside? Not that many contacts and takes a lot of time, right? The first thing that you do when you're a realtor is what, babe? Yeah, and you call everybody in your phone and you say, hey, I just passed my. If anybody needs tell them to. Why didn't you do that when you started this business? Hey, just passed my my life insurance license. This is what I would call, this is why the script is the script. Right? If people don't answer, send them a quick text. Hey, what's up, man? It's Chuck. Long time no talk. Just passed my life insurance license. We specialize in boom, 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 boom. Life insurance, long-term care, disability, retirement income, and annuities. If anybody needs any of these things, just know you have somebody to talk to. Because most people do what when they need that stuff? Yeah, they go online. And then because you're not spending hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars of advertising, who are they going to get in touch with? Northwestern, New York Life, Mass Mutual. They're not going to get in touch with you. You have to be in their face. You have to be fanatical. What's the word fanatical mean? Obsessed, right? What else? If you're a fan of something, right? Let's look it up, right? fanatical definition. Filled with excessive and single-minded zeal, obsessively concerned with something. Zeal is great energy or enthusiasm in pursuit of a cause or objective. All right, a lot of times, the last time you had zeal for anything was like winning a sports game in high school. And I love that book, The Game of Work. Was that the book that you had, the little yellow one? I'll always use that analogy. Like we work so hard to go like win on Friday night in football, and then you'll train, you'll sweat, you'll wake up, you'll put pads on, you'll go play in the rain, in the mud, you'll get hit, you'll get bruised, you'll get knocked down, you'll get injured, you'll tape it up, but you won't get out of bed to go to the gym, and you won't go to the gym, and then you won't go to work, and you won't read a book about what you do so you can make millions of dollars. It's a weird phenomenon.
Also, Josh, I can imagine just is that there may be some, like when you're talking about when people first get their license, they may feel like an imposter syndrome a little bit, where like they're not worthy because they're not going to tell the world that I just got my license and I barely know anything. You have to change that mindset. That may be happening too.
Understood. Yeah, I mean, that's the purpose of hooking you up with somebody. Yeah, that's what joint work is for. I mean, I've always been like we're the same age in the office. I've always been the young dude that's 40 years ahead of his time. That's what people always I always just act as if I'm 50 years old.
You're an old soul.
Yeah. But you can be too. Right? Like all you have to do is step into a thing. Every room you're always going to be in, not always, but most of the time you'll always be in a room where there's going to be people that say, "Oh, I've been doing this longer than you've been alive." You have to just get used to it. So this is key to understand. So you just have to own it. Like you're young, you're new, you've been doing this. I tell a lot of people I've only been doing this for 2 years. It's cool. Nobody cares. Just be real. Just be who you are. Hey, I got to hook you up with this person that knows more than me. You have to fill up the pipeline so much that you're like, you shouldn't ever forget about a deal, but you should definitely fill up the pipeline so much that you're like, oh shit, I have to do this or I have to do that. Or, hey, I'm going to prioritize this one over this one. You want to get so good at this stuff. You want to get so good at this that you fill up the pipeline, but you have to be, again, fanatical about prospecting. And I think it comes down to like understanding that if you do this thing, that it'll somehow eventually longer than you think, more money than you think. Lead you to where you want to be. And if you knew that this is the route, right? In order to be a pro athlete, you got to play, sports in high school. You got to play sports in college. This takes 4 years. This takes 2 to 4 years. All right, you got to do the draft. You got to train. You got to do all these things. There's a system for it. And the same thing goes with this. You got to make calls. You got to tell people what you're doing. You got to build a list. You got to invite those people. You got to present to those people. You got to show them this is just the game that you sign up for. I know it would be foolish to not like the game that you're playing. I love the game. You have to love the game. I love the ups and the downs. I enjoy the process. Like when you look back and you're like, damn, I was just crying about this and that. Like that means that you're going through the game. Like you're going through the process. It's fun. It's easy. It's part of the growth. It's part of the journey. And you have to have something down here that's worth going to. Right? What is this thing that's worth going to every single day that you wake up for? For me, a lot of my why is about proving other people wrong. It's about being better than my dad. It's about being the one person from my high school that made it. It's about showing up to my high school at my 25th reunion with the beautiful wife and a Ferrari and everything that I ever wanted, and talking to the guy that was the high school football star that's still laying concrete in my hometown making 50 grand a year. That's for me, that gets me off. That doesn't have to get you off, but that gets me off. I want to live in Miami. I want to live the nice life. I want to be able to do anything I want. I want to have people know who Josh Waxman was. That might not matter to you. I'm just sharing you through you what motivates me. Like when I wake up in the morning, that's what I think about. Like I have to go to the gym because they're going to be waiting for me if I don't. And how could the owner of the store not show up to the gym? How could somebody come in? How could I be late ever? Like if I'm ever late, then how are we gonna do a morning meeting? Like this is like you have an ownership. I have an ownership mentality. You gotta have an ownership mentality with your thing. You gotta be like, well, how could I'm always doing it for the purpose of the way other people feel about me to show how I am. I don't know if that's good or bad or whatever. That's what's inside of me. And how could I tell you guys to go to the gym if I don't go to the gym? How could I say for you to meditate if I don't meditate? How can I ask you to read this book if I don't do it? It's all about being a leader and being able to ask people to do the things that you are willing to do times 10. So there has to be some sort of thing that juices you up to wake up every single day. And it's going to be different for all of you. I'm going to really tap into that this next week at our one-to-ones. I want to really tap into your whys. I want to really tap into what your goals are. I really want to tap into like what drives you. Because that's what you have to do. I don't know. I don't know any other way. I don't like to go to BNI at 6:45 in the morning, and I'm the only one in our group under 40. Everybody's been doing what they've been doing for 30 years. I'm trying to get them to write these freaking letters. I pushed it off now 2 weeks. Like they were supposed to have these letters signed and brought 2 weeks ago. I made a Google sheet for everybody in our chapter to make a list of 40 people to write letters to. Nobody did it beside me and Omar. Then the next week I was like, all right, everybody, I'm going to remind you on Friday. Everybody liked it. Nobody did it. All right, but then how could I have to come in with it already done in order to be able to ask people to do it? Now, I don't enjoy doing it, but what I enjoy doing is writing up $120,000 of business from BNI in the last month. I don't know if that makes sense or what, but it's about being able. You got to be able to see this. This is the progression. You got to be able to plant seeds and then water those seeds and then harvest those seeds. And you don't always have to be the one to do it. You could build a team. You could hire employees or recruit other agents to water your seeds for you. You can hire people to go out there and pick the fruit for you, right? And as the business owner, you get a little cut. It's called profit or override, and you deserve it for being a leader. And you guys can all do that too. The first thing you have to do is plant, and you have to plant a lot, right? I've been in BNI since January of 2021. I didn't close one deal until this year. The chamber, I've been a member since March of 2022. I did nothing for a year. I did some stuff last year, and they just asked me. We presented one time ever. Now they nominated me to be on the board of governors. I don't even know what that means, but Dave Grutman's on the board of governors, so I'm down. I mean, these are just little things. You're so close to being connected to people. Right? Like how close are we to Jay Parker, the #1 guy who sells for Douglas Elliman? Jerry Libin's on his team. How close are we to the guy who's did $3.2 billion in sales for Compass? He's Madeline's boss. How close are we to making a call to LeBron James? You guys have friends in the NBA. How close are we to Grant Cardone? Jared's DMing Jared Glant on social media. How close are we to Grant and Elena? We can just ask Claudia and Hibbert to hook us up. How close are you to Dave Grutman? I can just ask Brittany, the head of the Chamber of Commerce, to introduce me if when the time comes. But like you're in Miami, we're like 1 degree separated from everyone that you want to be connected to.